Everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online, favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt. Right. So, and of course, Panda Supplements, TDL, 35% off. Go ahead and support them. Get some protein shakes, whatever you need, some sleep help. They got all that good stuff over there. So go to Panda Supplements, pandasup.com, TDL, discount code for 35% off. All right. It's a preseason film review, week 2 of the Rams. You got one more preseason game before the season starts. So we're getting closer to week 1 in Denver, doing some real NFL football. I'm not saying the same real NFL football, but it's just not real NFL football. So yeah,
it's really not. I mean, we love the preseason, but it's also like the point where I'm like, all right, I've had the teaser, like I'm ready for the real thing. You know what I mean? Like we're ready to go. I mean, we got college football going on this weekend at least, and then 2 weeks after this to get some NFL action, get some regular season going. Cut down day on Tuesday. It's almost here, man. We can taste it.
You can taste it, man. We might have to do a 53 man projection pretty soon here with how everything's going. I think those are dropping like crazy. I see some 53 man projections all over the articles and people doing them really early. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they feel like the preseason, the third game's not going to count, or there's something not going to change. But I think some things might change there. So it'd be interesting to see who ends up making this team. But offensively, they look really strong still. Again, on film, I thought the offensive film was really good, all across the board. In my opinion, I thought, besides Brian Hoyer, even though Hoyer on film was a little better he was better on film than he was on broadcast a little bit, maybe because I saw how he could run the offense, but he wasn't very good. But the offensive line has been awesome all training camp and through the preseason, and hopefully that carries on to the season. So what did you see, Matt? What did you think of the offense of the film?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it right with the offensive line. Like, I know we're gonna get into Thayer Munford a little bit later. Like, I thought he played a good game. I thought Jermaine Illuminor played a good game. Like, the Raiders have a legit battle and like a couple legit guys that can play right tackle for him. And I mean, too, Dalton Wagner had a really good game. This last one wasn't as pretty for him, but. There's a lot of talent on the offensive line, which a year ago, at this time that was a position group we were really worried about. And right now, I'm more worried about having to roll out Brian Hoyer potentially for a game than I am the offensive line. And I mean, defensively, like I think it's starting to come together. Like that one thing I noticed, especially when diving into Chris Smith's film, is the front side is playing pretty well. I know it's obviously not the starters that are playing every down, but a lot of gaps are getting plugged up. The run defense looks so much more sound. Like guys are in the right spot. People are in the right gaps. So it's been fun to watch. This preseason's been pretty encouraging, a little bit better than I think we thought. So hopefully it translates to next month.
Yeah, for sure. I thought the defense it looked a little bit better than obviously it looked a little bit better than last week, but I still think the defensive line's got to get a little more pressure inside. I think some of those guys inside got to find a way to get some pressure. I'm a little worried about that. We haven't seen Bilal Nichols, but just the pressure inside just wasn't there this week as it was the week before. Maybe they expect Isaac Rochelle to come in and do that. I don't know. But, that Tillery played late into the game a little bit. Not late into the game, but more than I thought he would have. He played all the way to the second quarter. And then he was supposed to be a press conference guy to start, and then he wasn't after practice. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see where he's kind of tanking, because Neil Farrell was the starting 3 technique, which I thought was super interesting. And they've been playing him at 3 technique all preseason. So I don't know what do you think about that, Matt? Because that's something interesting. He never did that in college, right? They made him lose a bunch of weight. Doesn't even look like he did in college, in my opinion. So, but now he's playing the 3 technique instead of the 1. They had Jenkins at the 1, or shading the 1 instead of doing some over fronts, and he was playing 3. And I thought that was super interesting. But what were your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Well, part of me kind of feels like I feel like at least on the interior, they're kind of just going to sacrifice the pass rush, because I noticed that too. Like you got Neil Farrell in there and John Jenkins in there at starting, and obviously those are some pretty big bodies, but not a whole lot you're going to get from a pass rush standpoint. So I think they're probably going more with that like, the Giants' philosophy when they had like Leonard Williams, Dexter Williams in there. Obviously, those guys aren't on that. Neither one of those are caliber, but that same kind of philosophy of like, let's beef up the middle, we'll sacrifice some pressure and let Max Crosby and Chandler Jones and maybe Tyree Wilson do their thing on the edge. But as far as Tillery goes, I thought it was interesting because like both of us, like when we were talking about it after the game, we assumed he didn't play because he wasn't in with the starters.
Yeah.
And, like he popped up and then someone mentioned it, and then he popped up on film in like the second quarter. And they've been playing him at end more, right? Like I remember seeing that in camp, and I feel like I don't remember specifically, but I feel like on film, like I would notice him at like the end spot, which because what I was talking about right now, he's, as we've discussed, very bad against the run, but can't get after the passer a little bit. So maybe that's exactly what their philosophy is. Is like they're just going to let those guys eat up gaps and just basically make them like 2-down players the entire time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see with him because, somebody asked, like, who's a surprise cut? I say Jerry Tillery. They asked me on the radio who they could get traded. I would say Jerry Tillery because it's seeing Neil Farrell out there, like, Tillery's healthy. He ain't like he's hurt or anything like that. And they feel comfortable putting Neil Farrell Jr. out there and kind of having like him and Jenkins working together. I don't know who the other guy would be if, you figured John Jenkins was there to play what Neil Farrell was doing. Right, but then they're playing together, and they have him playing 3 tech. That was an interesting move. But Neil Farrell, he looks like a 3 tech now. He doesn't look like the big fat dude he was at LSU. He looks like a 3 technique, 305 pounds.
I do remember like Neil Farrell at the Senior Bowl like a couple of years ago when we were there. Like his get off was like really impressive, and like he was beating people with that. So I wonder if that's what they're trying to go for. Is like, hey, slim down. Let's get this part of your game down. Get a little bit more athletic and put you at the 3 technique, whatever you can give us as a pass rusher, then that's a bonus. But if they can, use them in that spot. So interesting. Jerry Tillery, I feel like, I mean, both of us talked about it as like we were kind of surprised they even brought him back. So if he ends up being a surprise cut, like that would actually catch me by surprise because I just figured I was wrong about him the entire time. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. The defensive tackle room is like really head scratching right now. It's like one of the ones when I do my projection that I always have to take some extra time on to really like think through because they've got an interesting hodgepodge of guys.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys just aren't popping off on the tape. I guess that's what it is to me. I mean, because Malcolm Kuntz is popping off. I mean, he's having a great preseason. He obviously looks like a different pass rusher in my opinion. I think he really has it coming together, but it's it's gonna be interesting to see how they. Go ahead.
He's my pick to get traded. No, it's Kuntz.
You think so? See, I went and watched the special teams film this week, Matt, and he is a key special teams guy. He's on every special teams. I did not realize this, and I think that's why he's hanging around a little bit because he is he's on punt return, he's on punt block, he's on kickoff, and he's running down there. Him and Palomar. That's why I think some people have Palomar not making this team, and I think they're really wrong about that because he's the gunner.
He's making the team.
Yeah, he's on every special teams too. Like so it's Kuntz is gonna make the team. I feel comfortable with that. Like more saying that, like going to watch the special teams because he's just everywhere. And if he brings that, they got to find somebody to replace him there. And I went last year. He did it last year for them. So I think that's somewhere he can sneak up in there. But and then they still keep Jordan Willis, right? They'll keep Jordan Willis and then sneak in Malcolm Kuntz for special teams or whatever. But and hopefully he can find his way through some pass rushing to get into some snaps. But he should be a special teams guy. Let's just say that.
Gotcha. See, that's where I went wrong. Is I didn't go back and cut the special teams tape. You went deep into this preseason film, so that makes more sense. I was just thinking about the perspective of like kind of what we were talking about last week. Like obviously Crosby and Jones, Willis, and then Wilson. Keep the 5th guy who's got 2 years left on his contract, and if he is playing well, maybe you can get something for him. Especially when you have Isaac Rochelle, who didn't play last week, but 2 weeks ago looked good against the Niners. So that's where I'm coming at. But if he's contributing on special teams, then you might have found the key right there.
And Roderick's special teamer, man. Those him and Palomar. So I think they might keep 5 safeties because there's Roderick's special teamer out there. He's on every special teams too. Him and Palomar, they're the gunners now. Especially Hollins is gone. So I didn't go back that far. I didn't go to the season and see if Palomar was gunner last year, but Palomar's making his team. So people need to pencil that in. They got to forget whatever they're thinking about with that. But yeah, I don't know.
Plus, I feel like they like him a lot. Like, I don't feel like you would hear as much about like them like trying to like make him bigger, like make him put him in like that box safety role in the cover tight ends if like they didn't, have an idea or have a vision for him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's making this, like, he's not even like an afterthought to me about making this team at this point. Yeah, I feel pretty confident.
Something I just want to point out, they had Nate Hobbs playing linebacker, which I thought was super interesting. I don't know if you saw that, Matt, but Nate Hobbs.
I did not notice that.
He was in the box inside. He was playing linebacker. And I don't know if it was because they're condensed or whatever. Maybe that's what it was.
Okay.
But they weren't that condensed. I may have to go back and look. But he was in the box and playing down there, like kind of like a safety linebacker type of thing mixed in.
I wonder if that's what they're doing more with the nickels, because I noticed Tyler Hall's been playing like a ton of safety too. So I wonder if they're trying to make their nick like almost like create like basically like I don't know what the right word is, but every nickel's going to play safety at 2 instead of just being like a slot corner or whatever. So interesting.
Yeah, it's what he used to do with Julian Love. So, I mean, Hobbs has that size, so he could have that kind of look where he could mix it up, where he can move him around a little bit. Because, I mean, he didn't really, hit that, that run fit really well. But he's playing there. He's playing there. He's got to work. He's there. He's there, he's not, but they got him in the box and he tackles really well. So it makes sense to me if you can get him free that he can go out there and make some plays in a run game. But I thought that was interesting. And then he ended up playing a little bit outside on third down, but just moving those guys around. I thought that was pretty interesting with the first team. And Spillane looked really good. So
he had a heck of a game. And the 5 plays he played, he kept popping off, which is pretty impressive. So
yeah, even in coverage, man, the play he made in coverage was a good. I mean, just making a tough throw was a great play. Yeah. So he's got me a little excited for the linebacker position too. So we'll see, man. Maybe his defense takes a step. Maybe they do. I just think the pass rush just has to be great, and if they can't get any interior push, and it's just Max and them coming around the corner, the quarterback just steps up and just, that's what I'm worried about a little bit. But
I mean, we've talked about it since the beginning of last year. Really, it can't just be Max, and if that's it, like I think they are probably relying on Chandler Jones to be better. But I mean, Chandler Jones hasn't even practiced in 2 weeks, something like that. Like, yeah. And then we don't really know what his injury is. So I can definitely feel you where like they need someone else to step up, but hopefully one of the guys they brought in the offseason or Chandler Jones figures it out.
Yeah. And one guy that did have a better week before we get into the tape. So for the film guys, just so we're breaking down, we're doing some Chris Smith and Thayer Munford. Matt's going to go ahead and break down those two guys. And I'm going to do official Aidan O'Connell. We're going to do like a traits thing. We're going to look at his traits, do like a trait breakdown and, see what he does, what he's doing well, and maybe what might keep him from, the ceiling. What is his ceiling at? We're going to try to figure that out. So I think this game, we got a good look at a little bit of it. I still think I want to see him under more pressure because it's been like 5 pressures in like 2 games he's been under. But I mean, the
O-line, baby.
The O-line's been doing work. So we're going to do that. But I just want to talk about just the first team offense a little bit because we can get into them. I don't know if did you watch that drive? Did you get a chance to check that out?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit with the Munford clips, but not a whole bunch I was looking at, but yeah.
Yeah. Just with the drive, I got that up on the membership. If anybody wants to go check it out, join the membership. Got that whole first drive on there. There's just a lot of power football. I don't know if they're gonna play like that. Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's just a high school. If that's just like a preseason thing that they want to do. But Zamir White is just, as long as they don't run no duo, an inside zone or outside zone, and they just go lead power, right? Just lead power with him. I think they could. I think he could be effective as long as they don't do any zone. Because he missed a cutback, man. If he had a cutback, he would look like Arian Foster if he had that cutback on the outside zone the first run. 40 yards.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got some positive news from Zamir White after hating on him for so long.
Lead power. That's all. We just follow Johnson through the hole. That's where you go. No, don't use any vision. Just go where Johnson goes.
Yeah. And, I mean, that makes sense with his profile.
And he looked pretty good doing that, man. Even when he came out the game, even when they went with Brian Hoyer, they still kept with the lead powers. He looked pretty good.
Oh yeah.
As long as we stay away from duo, stay away from anything where he just has to do a lot of vision. He's got to play their skills. That's what I say. Got to play their skills. All right. Let's get into Chris Smith and some Thayer Munford. Go ahead and let's load this up, Matt, and break it down for the people. Perfect. There we go.
All right. So with Chris Smith, I think we talked about it a little bit last time. I had a question on my mailbag. People were asking where he was and what he was doing. Obviously, he was getting quite a bit of hype for a 5th-round pick. I think both of us really liked him as a steal. So was curious why he wasn't just popping up on the stat sheet, wasn't really popping up on the broadcast. So I just wanted to see, one, how are the Raiders using him? Is he screwing up? Is he not doing his assignment? Or what really is going on here? So put together some clips, threw this up on the Silver and Black Pride too, if you guys want to take a look up there. But I figured we'd start with how they're using him. And one thing that I noticed and will pop up if you have a PFF account, he's playing free safety like almost exclusively. Like he's had I think maybe 4 snaps in the box, something like that. And so I think that's a big part of why he's not maybe making up a ton of tackles. Like we'll see him here. He's 12 yards from the line of scrimmage, 13 yards away from the line of scrimmage. And he's not making a ton of runs. And like we were talking about, the Raiders are doing a pretty good job of plugging up their gaps in the front. Like we'll see it here. I mean, there is nowhere for this guy to run for the Niners. Like everybody's gotten their assignment, and he's getting contacted. Running back getting contacted right at the line of scrimmage. And look where Smith is. I mean, he's right in his spot. He's where he needs to be. He's got a good distance, about a yard in front of the sticks. So he's in the room, and he's in a position to be able to make that play when he's in that assignment. Kind of the same thing over here. Obviously now we're 12 yards away, 13 again. Same thing. And this one I really liked because we're going to be right here where he's the safety, right? Like he's our last line of defense. And again, we got these gaps plugged up in the middle. Royce Freeman bounces it. Sam Webb holds on for dear life, and he's in that spot again to make that play. So these are the kind of things that were encouraging to me where I'm like, all right, he's not showing up on the stat sheet. But again, if Sam Webb misses that tackle, Chris Smith is right here to come clean it up and get and pop up on the stat sheet. So that was kind of the first thing that I kind of took away is look, the way they're using him, he's not going to be making a ton of plays, but he's in the right spot and in the right assignment. Now, I did want to go over and start with a little bit of the bad, a couple of things that I saw from him that I wanted that he can improve on, and then end on the high note. Right here, we're going to get a little play action pass from the Rams. Does a good job reading it, picks up this crosser right here. I believe it's cover 3 look. Ooh, went too far back. I believe it cover 3 look from the Raiders here. So nails the crosser, comes up, balls out to the tight end. He's rallying, but he just kind of pulls up right here. And I don't know if this is because he sees Amick Robertson going for the strip, which we know better we shouldn't be doing that, and that's why he pulls up, or what. Yeah. My thought process here was hey, if we come up and we be a little bit more physical and collision this tight end, we prevent those extra 5 yards. Instead, he comes up and misses, and they ended up tacking on and making it 2nd and 2 instead of 2nd and 8. And that was definitely one thing I kind of noticed is he could probably be a little bit more physical and come up and make some more plays. And then this next play, this one's actually going to be in coverage. We got a bunch formation at the top of the screen from the 49ers with the tight end, basically trips all nice and close to each other. So that is a good indicator that some sort of rub route or man beater is coming. As I'm sure Marcus from being an offensive guy. And then that's exactly what we get. Switch release, got the tight end working wide and on the out route. And then Chris Smith ends up running into his own guy or this corner's guy and leaves this guy wide ass open. Now, this is Sam Darnold, recently donned the QB2, beating out Trey Lance for the 49ers. But what I'll say is with a starting quarterback that's not Sam Darnold, that ball is going to the out right here. And there ain't nobody out there. That's probably 6 points. So that's the one thing that I was worried about me.
Where do you throw that ball to?
I'll back this up. He threw it to his credit that we do have outside leverage against a dig or an in route here. So it's not like he went and made a terrible decision. Oh, no. Sorry. That's where I just assumed he went. I don't know.
Where do you?
Oh, no. He threw it to the guy that was double covered. Oh, yeah.
Man.
Breakdown right here. Yeah, this is QB2 for the Niners.
You're supposed to throw to the choice route, Sam. Just throw to the choice route. But anyways, let's keep it going.
Keep it rolling. But yeah, Luckily, we're not a Niners podcast. Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
All
All right.
So, sorry, bring it back here. So, what I will say though that I did like about him in this game is here we've got basically the same formation. I don't know if the receivers might be different, but this is that same tight end, just split out wide this time. And watch, the Niners going to run the same thing basically with that out. And this is what I love here. I'm going to back it up a second so we can watch it. Let's watch Chris Smith. He's going to like buzz his feet. Goes, oh, got to pull up for a second. There we go. And now we've got it covered. So I do like that he's actually making that adjustment in the game. And we're learning our lesson, granted the hard way. But again, we're picking that up this time. So I'd like to see that growth from him in this area. And then moving on to more positive. Let's see. Oh, I remember this one. This one was a good one. Play action pass here. So we got a play action pass versus cover one with two corners at about 8 yards past the line of scrimmage. So pretty deep. And then the linebackers are going to suck down it inside against the fight on the run fake. There's our guy Tyler Hall here playing a little bit too far in. And Christopher Smith, he sees the play action. Sees that we got the short drag here, and he knows this is going to be a tough cover for Azizi Hearn. So what does he do? Avoid that pick and comes and drives on the drag route and takes that away from him. I'd argue Sam Darnold probably still should pull that trigger. But again, we got the safety there. We got a guy there to at least make that collision, maybe make that contested catch and make that tackle. And again, too, we get the fumble forced here. It wasn't by Chris Smith. But what I love, too, is he's always rallying the ball. He's in the position right here. Again, he's going to start making plays once he gets that opportunity. And the Rangers end up recovering here. But he's around the ball, and that's what I love to see from this guy is like he's going to be here, and eventually, again, I do think he's going to start making plays once he gets that opportunity. This is the play I was thinking of before. So here, we're going to get a similar look, play action. Looks like, I believe this is cover 6 with him on the quarter side. Sees the drag route, drives on it. The dig route, drives on it like 2. He's going to be a little patient. Let's bait that throw, and boom, makes a collision, gets that forced incompletion. Timed up perfectly. This was the best play he's probably made in the entire preseason. Ends up getting that, forcing that ball out. So again, another play, showing some smarts, picking up the routes, and in the right position. Next one, another play action pass, the old Kyle Shanahan special here.
Yeah.
Let's see. So opens his hips to the field to defend against the run fake here, then recognizes its pass, flips our hips back onto the sideline, and go pick up that deep route on this flood concept right here. So again, another spot where this isn't going to be a highlight play. I don't mean to say this is something spectacular or anything, but he's in the right spot. He's doing his assignment, and he's taking a route away from the quarterback, and that's all you can really ask for him right now. Now this play, we got Stetson Bennett, old college teammates, Georgia on Georgia crime here. Again, playing that deep safety. Stetson Bennett rolls out. We're going to bait him into the throw. And I mean, that is perfect, right? Like, you can't play as a single high safety much better than this. Baits that throw and drives on it, cuts in front of the receiver. If Stetson Bennett doesn't skip this to him, give him the old baseball one hop, like this is a pick. Like, he's right there. I mean,
his instincts are popping off. Those are instincts, man. I really like this.
And that's exactly what you saw from him at Georgia, right? Like, that was the problem. Like, he's not the greatest athlete. That's why he slid. But what he can do is he can anticipate routes like this. I mean, yeah, if Stetson Bennett gets that to his target, again, it's a pick. But honestly, you just can't make it right there. But yeah, so that was kind of my biggest takeaways from Chris Smith is, while I understand it's frustrating, he's not popping up on the stat sheet, not necessarily popping up on the broadcast film. He's doing what you're expecting of him, or he's doing his job, and he's doing it well, and he's constantly in the right spots. And I do think once he gets more playing time and gets more opportunities, he's going to start making plays. You have any thought before we move on to Munford? Do you have any thoughts on Chris Smith?
It looks pretty impressive to me, man. I thought that was pretty impressive. it's just if you're not paying attention, like, because you don't ever see a safety, he looks pretty impressive, man. Just the instincts, even looks pretty good in man coverage. Made some plays. I just worry if he could tackle or not. I'm a little worried about that since you showed it.
And that's the biggest thing is like we were showing earlier. Like, he's not flawless. Like, he's there plays that he needs to make that he hasn't. But again, a guy that, if you're not hearing about safeties, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that means they're doing their job and they're taking away what they need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to the trenches. Going on to Thayer Munford, a little bit of what you're talking about with Zamir White here on the outside zone. This is actually the first play of the game, popped off the screen right away. And one thing I noticed about him, too, that I felt like I didn't see from Munford last year is his get off. He's out of his stance, gets good footwork to get some outside leverage on there, gets a little bit of help from Greg Van Rooten on the combo block. Now, I'd like to see him right about here, maybe a little sooner, start to flip his hips toward the sidelines to seal this guy inside. But, I mean, let's back this up. We started at what is that called? At the 32 or something around there.
Yeah, 32.
We're going to finish this at the 37, 36. We'll take 4 yards of vertical movement every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm being
exactly.
nitpicky there when I'm talking about him being able to flip his hips and do that kind of stuff. All right, second one. This one's actually going to be a similar play. It was later in the game, but outside zone, and that's actually going to be a better rep. Again, that get off. I love his footwork, man. Like right away, head up, already one to the outside. Gets his hands involved, nice and tight on the chest here, and wheels him out. Keeps those feet moving. I mean, let's back this up for a second. We started at the middle of the field, and we're going to end near the numbers. Again, we'll take this movement every single time. That was a physical dominant rep right there from Thayer Munford. All right. Here's a little bit what you're talking about earlier, a little bit more of those power schemes. This, I believe I actually, when I originally posted it on the site, called it power, but I was mistaken. Apologies for that. I believe this is long trap near the goal line, just with the inside.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay. I call it one back power too. So long trap always gets me. So I did the same thing, Matt. But you're right. That's long trap.
The same thing. Yeah. But yeah, we get. But again, this is 101. This is the rep 2 where it really popped off me, right? We've seen him go 2 outside reps where we've seen him get outside on the guy that was head up on him with good footwork and his get off. Now we got a 3 technique that he's got to get inside of and get square on. Gets his feet going, boom. I mean, we're back to square. We got our head on the inside again against the guy that we were out leveraged by for a snap. Impressive. And then here we're just going to walk him back, and that's going to make it easy for Brandon Bolden to just walk into the end zone, because this is this guy's gap right here. But we just keep him out of it. Not a devastating block by any means, but one that we'll take effectively every single time. Moving on to some pass protection clips. This one was my favorite, was real popular on social media too. We're going to see here in the protection scheme, he's going to be responsible for this outside backer. The first thing we'll see, he's going to see this backer drop into coverage, immediately gets his eyes inside, looks for work, and you can't do it much better than that. Get a little ass over tea kettle, get some help with the old tabletop there. But that's the kind of physicality you want to see. And a guy helping out his teammate and cleaning it all up. But my guy, Aidan Munford, please don't lean like this. Everyone's giving me crap now on Twitter because of that play. I'm like, you guys are kidding me. I'm like, help me out a little bit. I was hyping you up all off season, and then do that on me when I'm trying to talk about Thayer Munford. But anyway, another one in pass protection here. I believe the Rams are trying to do a delayed line game here, where this end's going to go up the field for a couple steps on the ET stunt, and this nose is going to try and loop around. But as we'll see, get the ball off. And this is what I love, the subtlety of the offensive line play. I'll try and see if I can pause it right at the right second to show it off for you guys. But again, he's going to feel him start to work inside. And watch how he gets that hand. You can see it a little bit. You can see the white here. Gets that hand under the armpit, and then he uses his strength to say, okay, Van Valkenburg, I know we used to be teammates, but I'm going to throw you inside even further. That's the way you want to go. And he's going to end up picking this dude who's trying to loop around. He gets basically a 2-for-1. I mean, this is a damn impressive rep. Like, I'm just going to throw you inside, and that line game is done.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that I'm loving when you see this dude just be strong, big, strong, and physical. But yeah, great rep. We'll end with play. Let's see. So we'll end with this play. Again, another one where I know it's not the biggest highlight out there, but what it did was really highlight, how much he's grown and how much I feel like he's understanding the protection scheme. He's going to get some chip help right here, which one thing I did notice with the Raiders game plan is they were giving him a lot more help than Jermaine Illuminor over on this side with these chips, whether it was the back or putting the tight end on this side. So he gets the chip help, and he understands that. He goes, look, I've got help on this edge. I don't need to fly back and get into my kicks and get in my pass set or anything like that. Like you'll see a lot of young players do because they start to panic, right?
Yeah.
He's going to stay patient. I'm going to give my teammates some help with a nice little post arm so that we can help out, or so that we can keep this guy away from the quarterback too. And then two, I'm just going to pick up my guy, and we're going to give Brian Hoyer a nice little pocket to throw through. So again, not a dominating clip on that last one, not something that we're going to put on the highlight reel or any means. But to me, this is he's starting to show that he's a guy that's picking up the scheme, understands what they're asking for him, and taking that next level that you're hoping to see from a second-year player. So that was what I was really encouraged by from Thayer Munford. One, just pure power, and two, these reps like these happen all throughout the game where I was like, man, this guy's really starting to pick it up. He's really starting to understand where he needs to be and what his assignment is. So that was definitely one of the biggest takeaways for me from him. I thought he played a hell of a game. And like I said, man, I think the Raiders are going to have a pretty expensive or pretty interesting competition over there at right tackle where either guy could really win it, because Jermaine Illuminor had a heck of a game too. I thought he looked pretty good too.
Yeah, that's a tough position for them to be in, because Illuminor is a steady guy, right? You know you're going to get Illuminor. You know you're going to get a pretty good player. Even if you go to his grade history on PFF, and a lot of over 65. So he's a pretty consistent player. I mean, you know you're going to get with Illuminor. But Thayer Munford, you don't know what you're going to get really, because you could get a really good player, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with him versus Illuminor, that Munford could start and he could just be, type of like a dominant player, just because how big he is, how strong he is, and how what you're pointing out, he's picking up the system, and he looks pretty good in pass pro. He looks good in a run game, and that power run game, he really fits what they want to do there. He looks great when they didn't do any crack tosses, but I remember last year he looked pretty good when he was running around those leading those crack tosses. So I think that's something that they might like from him overall. That's why I kind of lean that way. Because I like, what can he be? Like, I know what Illuminor is, right? Illuminor's gonna be solid right tackle. We all know that. He's just not gonna be a great right tackle. He's just gonna be solid. We're gonna get a good performance from him. Mayer, he might be one of the best right tackles in the league. And it's crazy for me to say that. It's just, but he's just so big. He's so young, and like the upside is just, really crazy for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting
and I feel like it kind of comes down to what their philosophy is going to be this year. We've talked about it a little bit where like they've pretty much said like, we're focusing more on next year and beyond necessarily than this year. So if that's the case, it makes more sense to place Thayer Munford and at least give him, let's see what he's got. I could see them, rolling out with the Illuminor to start the year. Maybe things aren't kind of going their way. Don't get a couple wins and then making the switch and having a quick hook because of what we were just talking about. But yeah, it is a close battle. Like I think someone asked me, like, if I had to pick right now, gun to my head, I'm probably going to Illuminor. I feel like his feet are a little bit better in pass protection. I like that a little bit. Like I saw on some of those clips, you might have been able to see it. Like Munford still kind of got like slow, methodical feet. Like he's still kind of, in a way, moves like a guard a little bit. Where Illuminor is a little bit quicker and a little bit smoother. You can tell he has more experience. So that's the one thing that worries me about him is like I said, they were giving him a lot of help, a lot of chips. So when that's not there, when they can't give him that help, is he going to get exposed by better competition, by speed rushers? But again, you got to kind of throw him out there to see what happens. And if you can get we talked about it before, if you can get a starter out of a 7th round pick, that's a huge win, especially for a guy that's going to be on that cheap contract for, 3 years, including this one. Like that's a steal right there.
Yeah, for sure. And then going back to Chris Smith a little bit, I did like how he played. What you basically showed me that he's going to make the team. So that's what I really liked to see. He looked that is somebody that if a rookie's playing like that in preseason, he is going to make the team. It's just undeniably on film that, there's no reason for you to kind of cut him, in my opinion. And then, of course, like Palomau and Roderick, special teamer, they'll make the team too. But I think that Chris Smith, he'll definitely be the third safety. I don't know if he'll play over teamer right away if they try to go, or over Palomau, but I still think he's gonna be on this team though. I think they're gonna keep 5 safeties. They did last year. So
I mean, Graham loves to play like 3 safeties at a time, right? Ideally, Graham will put like Graham will have no linebackers and just play safeties. If he could, I'd be willing to bet. So I mean, I think they definitely, like, I'm with you. I definitely think they keep 5 safeties. Probably means 1 less linebacker than we're typically seeing on the roster, but Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a doubt in my mind that Chris Smith makes his team. And I mean, again, in the right spot, he's doing what he's been asked to do. Like it's hard to, it's frustrating from our perspective, from everyone else's perspective, and even me watching the games. But again, he's doing the little things right, and eventually it's going to turn into a big payout for him.
Yeah, for sure, dude. All right, so let's get into some Aidan O'Connell. Let's into the offense. Offense pays the bills, I guess. So, or the quarterbacks pay the bills, right? In the NFL, quarterback pays the bills. All right.
That's why we got 7 minutes of film clips of him.
7 minutes of film clips of Aidan O'Connell. All right, so I just kind of go over his game a little bit. To me, he was like the main guy to cover on offense for the show. So that's kind of why I went with this. It's kind of at this point, I think this is kind of the breakout thing. I'm going to do something for members and go over every throw, but kind of just go over his skill set a little bit. So this play, I really like a little run real quick first. A little play action. Hit the over route. It's a great throw under pressure.
He loves it. He hits that middle of the field so well.
Yeah, the over routes, man. He can over route everybody all day, man. That's just perfect. All right, so let me bring it back a little bit here. All right, so when you watch the quarterback here, so what we're getting this whip route here from Wilkerson, and then we're getting the in route and the over route. They call this blink for the most part. Sometimes it could be a beeline, but it's an over route and an under route. So you're going to see this a lot from the Raiders this year. These type of concepts. This type of look. I mean, they actually ran this play a lot last season. And so with this one, I want to stop it here. I want to go back a little bit. All right, so right here. This guy's open, and he's looking at him. I mean, if you watch where Wilkerson's going and where this guy's leverage, I mean, this is a good 10-yard play. Aidan O'Connell throws a good ball. He's going to give Wilkerson a good ball, and he's going to run for a good 10, maybe 12 yards, right? But he turns it down. Which I thought was super interesting. I mean, that's open. I don't know. Yeah. I know that's where the ball's supposed to go. So he turns it down, and then Cole's not even looking. I don't think Cole's even expecting to get the football, to be honest. He's just running around because it's wide open. If you see him, he's just kind of not expecting it, but he just throws it all ahead of time. And then Cole's like, oh my God, the ball's coming to me. And he stops and makes a catch. You can see how he caught it. It was like a little bit unexpected.
Yeah, caught it like on his back hip.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just super interesting to me that he kind of just turned down. You see him look at it. Like, that's open. Like, there's nobody in this area. He's like, nope, I'm going to go here. And I'm going to throw a beautiful pass right on the money, right before that safety can get there, right? And it's great that he threw it on the back shoulder. Probably should have better from this angle. I should throw it. He's just good mechanically. This dude's always kind of set. He always has the ball in the right spot, right in his chest. Great release. And where he threw it, because if he throws it anymore over here, this guy might knock it down, right? And this is a great placement of this football right there, right in between those two guys. Great catch by Cole, too.
I like, too, how he finishes it in traffic. You know what I mean? Like, he's got someone in his face, and he still finishes the throw. Gets his feet hit through.
Just beautiful stuff. All right, so this is like the crazy anticipation play. This is what had JT O'Sullivan going nuts, but this is just nuts anticipation. So we got, of course, we love the dig routes on the top, and then we got the deep comeback on the other side, right? And it's just crazy anticipation. And I think he started just throwing it Tucker a lot more often in this game. Because, I mean, he's supposed to work this side. I'm going to be real with you. He's supposed to work the 10 side. Call this 10. You got the double ends, right? But he's going to this deep comeback down here, right? And I don't know if he saw this and he was like, maybe this coverage or what they're playing. Because, they're kind of playing these ends too. Because they're playing, looks like cover 6, right? So, I mean, the best option is to go to Tucker. And then look where he's throwing how early he's throwing this football. I mean, Tucker's not even looking at the ball yet. And that ball's already gone.
Yeah.
Right. That ball is gone. it's halfway in the air. And you, maybe the reason why he's doing this is because he knows his arm strength, which I like. I like that he knows this. Right. I like that. He knows. How you're built. Exactly. And this is a great catch by Tucker, who I guess took his visor off. I guess that was a part of it.
Yeah, I saw that. Hey, maybe that's the key, man, because that was a hell of a finish, and that the one in the end zone was ugly. But this was
right.
a grab.
Great grab. And like I said, he's always pretty good mechanically, and he always got the J's on. It makes him look fresher. Right? He's got the J's, and just great mechanics all the time. Great release and on the money pass right there. Because, I mean, the guy, usually with these plays, are supposed to open to the outside, so that's where he's supposed to throw it. But that's a great catch by Tucker, too, as well. Great catch. Watch him slide in the pocket here, too. That's what I like. Kind of slide here. This is great blocking by everybody. Great throw. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's go to this is one of my favorite throws here too. This is where we're getting the all curls here.
I noticed this throw before. That was a freaking rope. in the triangle too, and the three things around him. Damn.
Yeah, man. 39. This is 39. Just throwing it right down the barrel. Look at that.
To a low guy too.
All right, so here we go. So we're getting all ends, not all ends, all curls, basically. So you're getting a deep curl right here. You get a deep curl from Wilkerson, deep curl from Tucker. I really don't like this play call at all. It isn't working. I just don't like deep curls on third down. It's just something I feel like it's easy to cover. But I mean, if you got a quarterback that can read zone coverages like this, I mean, because this is a tight window throw. This is, like I said, this is anticipation again, right? So you see, he knows he's got a little window in here. They're playing cover 6 again, right? This safety, he's supposed to be, kind of squeezing here, checking this out. He knows I got this little window right there, and I have to throw it really early because if I throw it any late, this guy is going to break on it. And he throws it right on time. He's already releasing that ball before he's turning around, and that ball's right there before anybody can get there. And he doesn't have the strongest arm, but when you get rid of the ball so early, it don't matter. Boom, it's right there. On the money. And high, too.
Yeah, to get it over the head. Brian Hoyer's taking note.
Nice high second level throw. Like he made Cole jump a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. A second level throw. It's just a thing of beauty. And then it's gonna lead right into the red zone throw.
I like to. Let's see. I feel like he kind of holds that safety too with his eyes a little bit, like kind of stares him down and then snaps it and then moves it over.
Yeah, holds him just enough. Quick release, man. Okay, all right, and this is the red zone play. This is one of probably my favorite throw of his. This is just dying. It's just dying in the back of the end zone.
Another nice grab too by Wilkerson.
Yeah, and he had like 4 drops in this game though, which is crazy. He caught this ball though. All right, so let's break this one down. So I believe what he wants originally is we're getting a kind of a post route from Cole here. We're getting a fade. This is kind of usual fade that you get from the X receiver in McDaniel's offense in the red zone, right? But we want the slot receiver over here, right? But this safety, he's basically in the way, and I think O'Connell sees that really early, right? I think he does a good job cutting off that. But I mean, after that, there's really nowhere else to go. Okay. But Wilkerson and him do a good job. I don't know if they've been working on this or something, but Wilkerson, he starts moving towards the back of the end zone, and O'Connell sees it really early, right? He sees where he's moving, sees what's happening, and he just throws it here, right? He just throws it right there. And he said, "You go get it." That's exactly what happened.
I didn't realize that was an adjustment too. Yeah, they must have been like, I mean, for two guys that like have been practicing together, I mean, I guess they hit spring too, but for a couple months, like to be on that same page, that's nuts.
Real nuts. All right, let's see this stuff. I like watching it from this side because you can see it. You can see him just kind of go through his reads a little bit. That's why I like watching it from the back. Right, you see that safety there. I can't go there, so where else can I go? Which really, I'm just being honest. There's really nowhere else for him to go. This is really all him a little bit. This is what I love. Like, because usually in red zone, guys making plays are like moving around. Right, he made a play from the pocket.
Yeah, it's
right there.
And like you brought it up, like I feel like it's a consistent theme. Like he's like moving his head, looking through his reads, working through his progressions. Like that's pretty consistent about him throughout all of these reps.
Yeah. All right. So deep passing. This is when we get a little up and down here. All right. So we saw him throw deep. He really didn't. I mean, he had a great deep ball week 1, but we saw him throw deep a lot more often on this one. So this is the big one. I pointed this out on Twitter. How this is the same play that he actually missed Tucker on that we were talking about the week before. He didn't do it this time. He just threw it to him. And maybe it's different coverage. I don't know, but he got it to him. And we'll talk about the throw and all that stuff a little bit, but this is a good read by him.
I mean, ball's perfect.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. So this is basically we're getting the motion and we're getting what they call 10, right? And this guy, he's running the in and he's running the under in, right? So some people call this levels, but it's not really what the levels concept is, but it's kind of like a variation, kind of a deeper one. And then we get the go route, which is basically everything on the backside of a McDaniel's playbook is a go route on the backside or a deep end or something like that, right? That's why Stephon Diggs is so mad in Buffalo. All right, that's all he's running. So we get the go route here, right? And we're getting somewhere. It looks like we're getting quarters cover 6. They've been playing cover 6 this whole game, and he does a good job. This guy's flat-footed, right? Now my only critique is maybe he could have do this earlier. Like do it right now because this guy's so flat-footed, he's not going to catch up with Tucker, and this guy's not going to be able to get there in time. And where he threw the ball, he would get him in stride, right? So I think that's the only critique on this one, right? Because I think if he throws a little bit earlier, he has a touchdown, but still a good throw. Because I mean, he didn't like fully stop or anything. Maybe there's like a little bit of a slowdown there, but that doesn't bother me when deep balls, to be honest.
Especially with the guy that runs a 4.3, like he's going to have a few where he's got to chop his feet a little bit to catch it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think we would get like so critiquey with some of these throws, like with some of these deep balls, man. As long as he ain't like overthrowing people, that's my big thing. He good throw, got it in there between the safety before the safety got there. Good play. All right, so now let's go a little bit with the let's say what he needs to work on. What can he get better at, right? And I think sometimes you just see the arm just kind of die on him a little bit, like on this one.
Yeah, that one's ugly.
Yeah, just like died on him, right? And of course, it looked. Go ahead.
I was going to say I couldn't see where that ball landed. He maybe thinking back shoulder?
I don't know.
Tucker was. I mean, Tucker's right. He wins. So either way, but.
I just think it's interesting. This is 989. I've never seen them run 989 in my life. this is interesting. Is this Scott Turner? Because this is literally 989. This is 9. You get to go, and you get a little post route, in route from Cole. This is some Bruce Arians right here. Because Wilkerson's open too. Look at Wilkerson.
Oh shit.
They're both open, and Tucker's separating. I think he tried to throw this a little earlier, right? And I think Tucker just outran it.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, I think if he did this to Wilkerson, it probably might be different. But that kind of shows a little bit of his arm strength problems, too, because he's trying to throw it so early, right? Gotcha. To get it there. But, yeah, that shows a little bit of the limitations, right? So, to be honest, I think you can gain arm strength because I think Joe Burrow has, and I think that's kind of the example of gaining arm strength. He's just got to hit them. He's got to hit the weight room, get them hips going, work on them hips, get that arm strength up a little bit. Just kind of can see he put his all into that, and it kind of still didn't get there.
Not his game.
It really isn't. It's not his game. And this one I really like. I like the decision. I like to go for the touchdown, but you kind of see that him and Sims are on the same page. And I think Josh McDaniels is really pissed at O'Connell for this one because if you saw what the concept is at the top, Matt.
We got dagger?
Yeah, we got dagger.
Dagger here?
And it's open. It's an open dagger. It's just not dagger. It's a wide open dagger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That one's one you're going to hear in the meeting room because he goes to the ISO or the solo receiver side and misses him. When the reads open, yeah, that one's gonna be an ass chewing in the film room.
But I like it though. I like this. I like that he's aggressive because okay, so we're breaking this down. We're getting dagger. Let me back it up. So we're getting dagger here, and this time they're playing like more man coverage on this one. So you're gonna get the in route, of course, and the go route on dagger, but then we're gonna get it kind of like a corner route, I believe. But I think O'Connell thinks he's gonna run a fade because he throws it flat instead of towards the corner.
Yeah, I was wondering. I remember watching this and wondering who was wrong because he throws it up the field, and like you said, and Sims goes towards the sideline. So I think part of it was them not being on the same page.
Yeah, right. But I like the decision here because I mean, go for the touchdown, right? I mean, because this is a good play, right? You probably get a pretty big chunk here, but if you hit this one, I mean, you have a touchdown probably, right? And I like the decision. It's just that they're just all not on the same page here. He's expecting them to go flatter towards the corner like this, and he kind of went more of the out route type of thing. So I mean, because this route is a little difficult for them sometimes because it's called a bow route, and they can take it deeper or they can bring it in. That's why this offense is so difficult for our receivers because maybe he is right and O'Connell's wrong, but maybe O'Connell's right and he's wrong. So you never know. I always side with the quarterback. So
I was gonna say I think the receiver might be right because it was single high. You want to run away from the safety, but
yeah.
I do like the anticipation you're throwing on that. Like when you paused it, like he was already in his throwing motion before Wilker or Sims is in his break. It's just obviously they didn't connect.
Mm-hmm. And McDaniels was throwing his headset down because you ruined his third and 9 dagger call.
It finally worked.
And he looks at it too. He looked at the dagger. He looked at it. He's like, "No, I'm throwing a touchdown." So close. I like that. I like that aggressiveness though. All right, so let's get into handling pressure here a little bit. And I mean, he wasn't under pressure much, but I kind of just want to show something here that I thought stood out. So this is his run, right? This is the little run he had. This is him, filling the pocket, finding the B gap. They always say quarterbacks run out the B gap, right? He finds it, gets some yardage, right? Like a first down, yeah, man. I mean, it's a good awareness, pocket awareness. I mean, the pocket presence might be a little different, but I like the pop up right there, right? He's not toesy, down on his toes, and gets out the pocket, man. It's a good little run.
And I'll be honest, this was one of the plays too, because like we saw earlier in the game where like Brian Hoyer was a statue in a similar situation and ends up getting a coverage sack.
Mm-hmm.
Where like that's like one plays like that are the difference between him and Hoyer, and like why he can give you a better chance to win because he'll pull it down and be able to pick it up with the legs.
Yeah. All right, so this one is the you get a 3-step drop, kind of just throws this one away a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not a bad decision for me because I mean, you're in the pocket, you get a little pressure, you got to kind of get rid of it, your pocket passer. But let's slow it down here, right? So right here, just watch him. I think he got a little high here, right? He gets a little high, I believe. This is where you shouldn't be standing straight up like that as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of gets bent, right? And then kind of has to throw it away and kind of you're talking about being a statue. I think that's what he was on this one, because I think he could have moved a little bit, like out of the B gap a little bit, just work up the pocket, and then maybe you can like hit Cole because this guy's coming this way and then Cole's coming this way. Maybe you can hit Cole on the second level when you're moving in the pocket a little bit, and he kind of stood as a statue. But to me, this is not a bad decision because you just get rid of the ball and you do it at a good spot. It's so good, accurate pass, no matter what. He's got to catch that, and you got some extra. You got 6 on first down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he makes that catch.
No, yeah, I agree. And it's got to be a bad too, right?
Yeah. He's got to catch that though, man. So watch from this side. Right. So like, just talk about just like sliding in the pocket a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to run here. To me, he doesn't have to run. I think he just could slide a little bit and then maybe hit Cole or something like that. But this isn't terrible, right? But it just kind of shows that he's a little bit of a statue back. Just a little bit. Just not, too much of a statue. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, man. All right. So what'd you think of that, man? What'd you think of some Aidan O'Connell, his game? What do you think?
I mean, I love the like the what you're talking about with the anticipation. I think something like that from a young quarterback is huge. I mean, Trey Lance, that's not to keep bringing him up, but he's obviously the topical guy of the day, but that's his big issue. And to see a guy like Aidan O'Connell, who's in his first year in the league, like come in and already have that's huge. And two, like I kind of like that he started feeling himself a little bit, like kind of what you're talking about. He's like, I'm gonna take a shot now, like get some confidence, get a little bit of swagger. Need to keep it a little bit more measured. Got to hit open guys when they're there. But
Yeah.
I like that he's building that confidence and playing with a little more moxie and a little bit more swagger. Like I don't know. I'm buying it. I wasn't in on the Aidan O'Connell hype after the draft, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it now. Like the whole his whole just like aura, like he's rocking like the look like Favre, play like Favre shirt. I'm like, all right. This guy's a little cocky. I like it. He got some confidence, got some swagger to him. So
yeah,
I feel like this month has done, or these last 2 games have done a lot for him. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Excited to see how he progresses.
Yeah, I like when I was watching the broadcast. I liked how he was yelling at Keelan Cole when Keelan Cole wasn't running. They had to call timeout in motion, and he was yelling at Keelan Cole, telling him, "Hurry up!" He's jogging because he had half-assed it over there. So I really like that. And guys are talking about his command in the huddle and those type of things. So I think he's a field general, and it's gonna be interesting to see how he grows, man. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think he can become a starting quarterback. You anticipate like that, man. I think there's something there, right? And then some of that work, and you put a pretty good offensive line back there. I think that you can make it work with him, and he can run those play action passes really well, right? He can run any of those play action offenses, in my opinion. I mean, if he did have to play and the Raiders went heavy play action, I think he can execute those things, right? And you can see it and see the anticipation that he has that he can hit those over routes and have good timing with it. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to be encouraged about, to be honest. I mean, I'm the same way with you. Coming into the draft and just watching this film, I was expecting to see kind of the turnover machine guy that I saw on film, but I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen him throwing the traffic yet like that. But I mean, it is preseason, and that's probably changed. They'll mix things up if you play in the regular season game. But from what I saw in preseason, it's impressive. It is.
Yeah. I hope he puts together another nice game on Saturday against the Cowboys. That would be awesome to see him put together 3 games. Like that's the one thing I'm like disappointed about with the end of the preseason is I don't want the Aidan O'Connell hype train to end, man. Like he's playing fun, and he's, like I said, he's fun to watch right now. I don't know if part of it's just he's a new face or what, but like every time I watch him play, every time like I'm seeing clips or whatever, it's like I'm just walking away more impressed. Like I'm enjoying watching him play quarterback. So that's kind of what's one of the biggest things. Not that it matters much that I like him and I'm excited about it, but not that means anything in the big picture. But yeah, he's been a lot of fun. One of the most exciting players to watch so far for the Raiders.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anything else we can talk about? I mean, Josh Jacobs news. Josh Jacobs will show week 1, but we'll see if that happens. Man, it's gonna be interesting if they don't have Josh Jacobs week 1.
He's gonna be there. Like I can't imagine that anyone, no matter how much money you make, turns down 8 figures. Like I get not going to training camp. Like I tweeted out, like if you could skip the worst part of your job and get paid the same exact, you would do the same damn thing. So I don't blame him for that. But like, there's no way he's turning down $10.1 million. Where again, literally all he has to do is show up. Raiders don't want to play him. The Raiders say, "Oh, you missed all training camp. You don't want to play? Fine by me. Check still cashes, right?"
Yeah.
So I got him. He's gonna be there. Like the only thing that makes it more cryptic is when he I don't know if you saw it. He like replied on social media like, "Oh, I don't remember saying that," to Vinny's article saying that he's gonna be there. Like, oh, okay, maybe it's not as encouraging as we were hoping for, but he deleted it. I feel like he's going to be there. Is he going to be the same player, get the same workload? Maybe not, but
maybe not.
See,
my thing is, especially if he misses a game and they lose, I think that's people ask, what's his leverage, right? And that's his leverage. His leverage is that they need him to win. And we can talk about how Josh McDaniels is rebuilding or whatever they're in between. But if they're not, if they were rebuilding and the way Aidan O'Connell plays, there'd be a lot of buzz with Jimmy Garoppolo not starting. Let's keep it real. But since they are stern, I see a lot of guys who are building up Aidan O'Connell. A lot of people who are building up Aidan O'Connell and giving him nicknames or whatever. Now they're trying to downplay and be like, "Oh, it's just preseason." But that kind of tells me that these guys are trying to win. If Jimmy Garoppolo and you think you can win with Jimmy Garoppolo and he is your starter, there's no like guy who could outplay him in preseason or anything like that. You are trying to win this year. And if Josh Jacobs wants to make a statement and be like, you can't win without me, and then they go out there and lose, I mean, that's kind of the statement that he wants to make. But I don't think he takes out the money either. But that's the leverage he has. If there is any, is that they might lose without him.
And but to argue against that, I'm like, yes, and I agree with you that Josh Jacobs has more leverage than I think people give him credit for. But like, there is like a certain point of like leverage for what? Like, if he doesn't show up, say he doesn't show up for week 1, they get blown out by the Broncos and can't run the ball, a team that he's dominated in the past. It's not like they can agree to a long-term contract with him now. Like, even if they agree to a different contract where he makes the same amount of money, it's still going to be a 1-year deal. Like, so that's where I'm kind of like I feel like he has leverage. Yes, he has some power in this, but I don't know what the end goal is. And if he doesn't show up, then like he's still under the Raiders can still franchise tag him next year if they want to. I mean, I guess they could do that even if he shows up, but
yeah,
that is I gotta think he's going to be there for the first game, but we'll see.
I don't know, man. Kirk Cousins is out there next year, man. So we don't know what we're going to do at quarterback. Kirk Cousins is going to be this Roman.
Kirk Cousins is looking at houses in San Francisco, bro. Come on.
I know.
Kyle Shanahan's not being like, look, I ain't letting this guy get away from me 3 or 4 times now. Like, that's his guy. That's his great white buffalo that he's been flirting with for years. That guy's headed to San Francisco if he's not going.
You might need some money for Kirk Cousins, Matt. You never know. You need some money for that. All right, let's get out of here on that note. I'm talking about Kirk Cousins coming to the Raiders. It's too much for me. All right, so hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Right, and then follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff, guys. I'm getting some defense stuff. I'm getting no defensive product. We're getting some defensive stuff up there on the channel this week. Like, I'm doing the defensive first team, look at the run game, do some little 4 tech, and look at the techniques and what they're doing and how they're lining up. So get in depth there, and then of course we're gonna do the instant reaction. So we'll see you guys then. Peace.
See ya.